Shalom. This is Daniel Stern from the Netivyah Bible Instruction Ministry, coming to you from our offices in Jerusalem. And today, I'd like to give you an update on what's going on in the Middle East regarding the war with Gaza, the potential war with Hezbollah, and other matters. So, first of all, let's start with the Hezbollah in the north. As you know, every day rockets are fired from Hezbollah in Lebanon to Israel, and Israel responds with airstrikes with our Air Force and or drones as well as artillery into Hezbollah-controlled territories in South Lebanon. And for the past few months, it's been heating up, and there are about 80,000 residents of the north that are displaced and not in their homes. It's a very tense situation, one that the residents are unable to return to their homes, and the economy is being hit as a result, and so on and so forth. I personally would like to see a solution that would involve the removal of the Hezbollah from the area, but no one's asking me. From what I understand, there's been a lot of negotiations with France as an intermediary to attempt to convince the Hezbollah to honor the UN Resolution 1701, which was the one that was reached at the end of the 2006 Second Lebanon War, where the Hezbollah will move 10 kilometers north of the border with Israel. When October 7 hit and people understood that the Hezbollah is a threat larger than the Hamas, then there was a wish that the Hezbollah would move 20, 30, 40 kilometers north. At this point in time, it seems like the negotiators have moved their demands to only 10 kilometers, and that negotiation is going in a direction that might result in a peaceful resolution of the situation. Once again, personally, my opinion is that only delays the inevitable war, but as said before, no one asked me. Those negotiations, though, are a bit stalled because the Hezbollah is linking their outcome with the war in Gaza, and they would like Israel to end the war in Gaza before they agree to anything. So let's move on to the war in Gaza. For the last few months, the IDF has been withdrawing its forces steadily and doing less and less operations in central part of the Gaza Strip and, of course, the northern. And when I say the central, I'm talking about the Khan Yunis and the central camps. There has been hardly any action there for a few months. In the last few months, there's been a lot of talk by Israel about entering Rafah, near the border in the southern strip, in order to finish off the last 4 battalions of the Hamas that have not yet been hit hard, have not yet been destroyed. I'll remind you that there's an additional 4 battalions spread throughout the central and southern strip, so a total of 8, but most people are talking about the 4 in Rafah. And it feels as though Rafah has become some kind of a motto, some kind of term for Israel to tell the world, hold me back, I'm going to get him, I'm going to deal with them. And in fact, nothing much is happening. Much of it is due to international pressure by the United Nations, Europe, and the United States for Israel not to go in and finish the job. And much of it is also internal pressure by Israel's left, which are very much against Israel finishing the job because they believe that the Hamas is necessary for the management of the Gaza Strip, and they claim that they wish to get the hostages returned, which I believe they do, but the claim is ludicrous because everyone wants the hostages returned. Left, right, center, we all want the hostages freed. The only difference is that some prioritize that above all else and would be willing to give away the home world, so to speak, shut down every part of the country in order to get it, and others feel that that would be suicide and that the country's existence is more important than the hostages' return, and we cannot go back to Poland and receive the hostages in return. Right now, the United States has put in heavy pressure on Israel to agree to end the war in order to reach a deal that would allow the Hamas to survive with its battalions, continuing to manage the Gaza Strip, continuing to plan more October 7th, and in return they would return the hostages to Israel, or at least some small amount of hostages. My personal opinion is that that is a foolhardy mission, leaving the Hamas around and receiving a 20 or 30% of the hostages is basically Israel and its allies, such as the United States and the West, losing this war and capitulating to the terrorists, and we would then have another October 7th done, and far worse. That said, there's pressure on Israel to agree. There's a negotiation for a deal. I hope that by the time you see this, the result of that is that the Hamas rejected the deal. We're so lucky that our enemies always reject the deals that we're forced to do because the deals are terrible for us. Please pray for wisdom for our government, wisdom for the world, and that the Lord comforts and strengthens the hostages and their families and protects the IDF. God bless you all.